They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money. The pressure be calling. Left on my blessings. I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection. I summon it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today marks the first day in what is about to be the longest few weeks of my life, but parts are starting to show up. We got the torque converter from Transmission Specialties back. Huge shout out to my boy Eric over at JPC Racing. They are the ones that spec'd my Turbo 400 kit for me, and they are the ones that spec'd out the original converter, and we sent it off. They changed the stator in it, so it is set up for the new build. But anyways, just filling up the torque converter. If you guys have never done this, you want to put about a quart into the torque converter before you actually install it. And so I'm going to go ahead and actually put the converter on the transmission, and then hopefully the engine will be here later today. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the same vlog as yesterday. Yes, it's the same vlog, and I'll tell you why just here in just a second. But of course, I have to get sick right as everything starts coming in, and we've got a lot to do, got a lot on my plate, got to work on the car, got to get it done, got the flashlight shootout coming up, and of course I would get sick today. Anyways, so my engine had actually shipped on Friday, last Friday. This is now the following Friday. So the engine shipped from California last Friday. It was on a 2-day freight, and I guess the engine was supposed to be here Tuesday or Wednesday at the very latest, just because we had a bunch of weather here in Amarillo. But they had even worse weather, I guess, in Albuquerque. So the engine has been stuck in Albuquerque, New Mexico since yesterday. And so I was kind of freaking out for a little bit because we didn't have a tracking number and we kind of didn't know where the engine was. Luckily, Branson finally got the tracking number. We were able to figure out where the engine was. And then that's when we found out that it was actually stuck in Albuquerque. So it was actually supposed to get here last night, and then they said I could come get it this morning. Well, then once again, it didn't get here till this morning from Albuquerque. And right now they're supposedly offloading it off the truck, and I'm gonna go pick it up instead of them taking it to Branson's work, because they typically don't deliver freight to Branson's work until 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm gonna go get it now, because I have a pretty long break this morning. So I'm gonna go get it now, and hopefully we can start getting to work on this, because I was planning on taking the car to Joseph's house tonight to start the fab work, and that's definitely not gonna happen. So now, realistically, the goal is to get the car to Joe's house by the end of the weekend. So it's gonna be a very long weekend, a lot of hours on the car, and I'm getting sick. So this will be interesting. So I'll see you guys when we actually pick up the motor. All right, guys, I'm so happy I just picked up the engine, but it's things like this that just really, I don't know, these small things that really just brighten your day. So Will actually sent me some RPG stickers, which of course I want to put one on the car, and he actually had one made that was orange. So his actual company colors are green and black, which the stickers look super good, but he actually had an orange one made for the car. So huge shout out to Will. That's awesome. It's small things like that that really make you appreciate certain businesses and certain people that you work with. So we just picked up the RPG motor. It is actually here. I have it. I don't have it in my hands, but it is in the back of the truck. We're gonna get to the house, get it unloaded, and we're gonna get straight to work. So I'll see you guys over there. I bet you guys are sick of me telling you how the weather is in Amarillo. Well, it's 20 degrees today, but this is a warm-up on a Dodge Demon in 20-degree weather. So we've got to get the Demon out of here and then back the truck up to the garage, and then we're gonna get the engine hoist out, and we'll get the engine out of the back of the truck. Shouldn't be too bad. And then I'll show you guys what I'm gonna pre-install on the engine. We did get the torque converter in. I did have to have Joseph come over and help me, because for some reason, if you guys never put a torque converter in, I couldn't get it on the second pump. I'm an idiot. That's just all there is to it. So thanks, Joseph. here it is, guys, my RPG sleeved and O-ringed motor, built bottom end. If you guys don't know, this is my 2018 single turbo Mustang. It holds the overall Coyote record for unopened. Pretty sure it holds like the Ford overall record is what I've heard, but that's neither here nor there. 820s are slow. We gotta go a lot faster to keep up with these guys at 2K. So we did get an RPG sleeved and O-ringed Gen 3 Coyote. Built bottom end, still stock heads. It does have pack valve springs in there because we obviously want to get rid of any valve float which might happen, which is actually really prevalent on Coyotes. So there's a few small things that Will from RPG and myself are the only ones that know about it. Well, Joe obviously knows about it because he knows everything, but that are a little different on this motor than any other motor out there, but we're gonna keep those under wraps. But anyways, essentially it's just a sleeved and O-ringed bottom end, forged, like I said, still stock heads. We did get a bigger turbo this year, so the plan is to try and get the motor in today, see if we can get the car over to Joe's tomorrow and start working on fabbing up the rest of the turbo kit. As you guys know, we've got a 850 cert roll cage we've got to weld in. The car is a mess right now. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna slap on the manifolds. I did get all new studs and nuts for the manifolds, so I'm gonna put those on, put the new gaskets on from Ford, get these ceramic coated manifolds on from Detective Coating. They are CG manifolds, and then I sent them off to Detective Coating to actually get ceramic coated this time. Gonna put on a few smaller odds and ends that are easier to get to while the engine is out, and then in a few hours we should be able to drop the engine in, and then I'm gonna have some buddies come over because it's kind of hard to line up the Turbo 400 with the engine by yourself. That's just, yeah, that's asking for problems. So once we get the engine in, we'll have some people come over, help us line up the engine and the transmission, and then we can start putting on the starter. We can torque down the converter to the flex plate, and then we can start putting back on the harness, the fuel system, all that good stuff, and then we can actually get the car over to Joe. So let's get to work. Alright, so if you guys didn't know, I actually deleted the AC on this car a long time ago, but I left the hoses intact because I still had the HVAC inside the car. This time I'm actually deleting the HVAC, and that's what the carbon fiber trim piece is there for. So on a Coyote, you can actually not just delete and block off these tubes because they actually run coolant. They typically run through the HVAC system and then recirculate and come to the other side. So Power by the Hour actually makes these super nice fittings that go in the OEM spots. And I've got another one for that side. And then it simply just runs a fuel hose across. That way the coolant is still getting to both sides of the engine. So yeah, if you do want to delete your AC and delete the lines, you have to actually do these. Good. I'm glad I looked this up because I was just going to block them off. So you still want to actually use these. So Power by the Hour actually sells these. So I'm going to put these on first, and then we'll get moving along. Alright, so we got that Power by the Hour coolant hose on. Sorry for the noise. We got to fix a battery or change a battery out on the alarm system. But anyways, we got the Power by the Hour hose on. Obviously, when the intake manifold and the throttle body's here, we're probably going to try and tuck this under the throttle body or see if we can reroute that. If we have to make it longer, no big deal. But anyways, that's kind of what it looks like. We got the CG Fab manifolds on there, coated by Detective Coatings. Oh! Actually, you won't be able to really see these when they're in the car because they actually look like a showpiece. But they're going to do their job. They're going to dissipate heat, and they look really good. Like I said, you really won't be able to see them when they're in the car. That's the problem with these mod motors, these Coyotes. The heads are just so massive on them, they block everything. But anyways, got the Motion Raceworks plate, by the way. This makes your life so much easier. They make them for pretty much all engines. But anyways, I've got a few other things that I'm going to install. So I did delete the oil cooler that goes right here. It sits right on the other side of the oil filter. So I deleted that. Just take this tape off real quick. And it ripped. So I deleted that, and Ford actually makes an OEM part that goes into there. That way you can still screw the oil filter on. And it's actually right here. So if anyone needs that piece. But yeah, we just deleted the oil cooler that goes right there. So this piece will just thread in there, and then the oil filter can go on. And then right here where this piece of tape is, that's actually where our little oil feed line adapter goes for the turbo. So I'm gonna put that on now too, because when the engine mounts are on, it makes it super hard to get to that. So I'm gonna put that on this piece. I'm gonna put put both engine mounts on. I'm gonna double check everything, and then I think after that we're actually gonna drop the engine in. And always label stuff because it makes it so much easier. But got the engine mounts on each side. I did put on my oil feed line because it's just a lot easier to get to when the engine's out. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque the engine mounts down, and then I think we're ready to actually drop the engine in the car. Alright guys, so not too much longer later, I got the engine in. It was a little sketch because I actually needed the chain on probably one more hole forward, so I kind of just had to let the engine hoist kind of slide out to get it on the stands, but it is in there. Like I said, I'll need some people to come over and help me get the trans mounted up to the engine, but there's tons of work that I can do until that happens. So I'm gonna get the Motion Raceworks engine plate out of here, start hooking up the direct injection back up, and then because that sits under the intake manifold, so we got to get that set up first. So we'll get that set up, then start working on the harness to the direct injection, and then pretty much just make our way around, get the spark plugs in, get the coils back in, run that harness. I need to gap the spark plugs actually before I do that. So I'll gap the spark plugs here in a little bit. But yeah, pretty much just make our way around the harness. I did have to pull the air to water off. You can see I hit it a little bit with the engine hoist, but we'll get that out. But I did have to pull that off, so I already put that back on. Put this side lower intercooler pipe back on. Alternator is on. It was easier to do it outside, so I put the alternator on actually before I put the engine in. But we're making some headway here. Just gonna keep cranking on it. So I did get the engine in yesterday. It was actually pretty easy to get the engine in. I got it in by myself. I got the harness all ran, got the fuel system back in, got the radiator back in and moved, got the alternator belt, all that stuff is in. Things I still need to do before I take it over to Joe's. I got to put the starter in, put the bolts from the converter to the flex plate, a couple small other things, but I did get the radiator in and I actually moved it forward even more. These are the BL Fab mounts that actually tilt the radiator forward to give you a little bit more room. And you can see these are where the original holes are. I actually drilled new holes last night, moved the radiator forward, and this is the original hole for the radiator bottom mounts, and I moved that about 3 or 4 inches forward. The reason for that is Joe and Brady came over last night to help me mount the transmission, and we kind of just held the turbo right here to see what we're kind of looking at as far as what we need to fab up for the turbo to sit there, and the radiator is just there's just not enough room for how big the new turbo is. So along with moving the radiator forward, we're probably also going to switch to like a single fan setup on that side, or get a slimmer fan setup because we definitely need some room. And the fan blades are right here. There's probably like a 2-3 inch gap behind them for the shroud. So we've got plenty of room to mess with that, but most likely we'll go to like a single fan setup because that's what BL Fab does in their turbo kit, which will give us all this room right here for the turbo. But yeah, the car is pretty much ready to go to Joe's today. Like I said, I got a few more small things I'm going to finish up, and then we'll get the car ready and we'll push it on the trailer, and the car will be at Joe's for some fab work. And probably not going to start the cage right away. We want to get the turbo kit done first, and then we'll start working on the cage. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. This is pretty much TX2K20 prep part 1. I think we're going to do like a little series out of it. So if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.